एक जनरल डायलॉग बहुत बार सुनने को मिलता है, और रिक्शा वाले भैया 5 के 2 डॉलर मिलेगा क्या? सच ए फनी डायलॉग. Can you really imagine that you are giving a currency note of 10 rupees and you are expecting rickshaw wale bhaiya to give you 2 $5 coin, that is 2 coins of $5. How is it possible? You know it very well that it's not. But generally we should say that give me 2 5 rupees coin and we call it as $2. For us 5 रुपए का एक कॉइन डॉलर बन चुका है. Keep the jokes part aside, ये 1 रुपया वर्सेस डॉलर डिसाइड कौन करता है? Every day we go through the news कि आज डॉलर की वैल्यू बढ़ गई, आज रुपए की वैल्यू कम हो गई, वाइस वर्सा. ऐसा क्यों होता है कि 1 रुपया अगर लेना है तो उनको बहुत कम डॉलर देने हैं, लेकिन $1 मुझे परचेस करना है तो मुझे 70-80 रुपीज देने पड़ते हैं. Why dollar is so strong as compared to rupee? N number of questions are there. Of course, कुछ आंसर्स तो उसमें से हम ढूंढ ही सकते हैं. That is what is covered by unit number 4 of chapter 4, that is exchange rates and its economic effects. ये exchange rate exactly क्या होता है? As you know, we are dealing with international trade in chapter 4, तो obviously payment करने के लिए foreign exchange आने ही वाला था. So that is what is now exchange rate and its impact on economy. Let's see. Exchange rate होता क्या है? Exchange rate means the rate at which the currency of one country exchanges or exchange for the currency of another country. As we have seen, 80 रुपीज आप देते हो तो $1 मिलेगा, और 90 रुपीज दोगे तो £1 मिलेगा, and like that. That is what is the exchange rate. ₹60 per dollar is the exchange rate. It is the minimum number of units of one country's currency required to purchase one unit of the other country's currency. Give 60 rupees, then only you are going to get $1. Now there can be two types of quote. ये जो मैंने कहा ना ₹60 per dollar, it is called as quote. How to quote the rate? A direct quote, the number of units of a local currency exchangeable for one unit of foreign currency, also called as European currency note. Quote, ₹50 per dollar. अगर आपको फॉरेक्स चाहिए, उनकी करेंसी चाहिए, तो कितने होम करेंसी देनी पड़ेगी? ₹50 per $1 is a direct quote. It means we need to pay ₹50 to acquire $1. A direct quote is given ₹50 per dollar. It is called as counter currency upon base currency. यहाँ पे base currency कौन सी है? US dollar. Abroad currency is a base currency. So home currency divided by foreign currency is called as a direct quote. ₹40 per euro, ₹90 per pound. So home currency is a counter currency and base currency is a foreign currency. ₹50 per dollar. Counter currency, base currency, direct quote. And indirect quote, exactly opposite. Number of units of foreign currency exchangeable for one unit of local currency. 1 रुपए में कितने डॉलर्स आएंगे? That is what is indirect quote. It is also called as American quote. $1, for example, $0.20 per rupee. 50 rupees for one, 50 rupees per $1. तो 1 रुपए के लिए कितने डॉलर? So it is the opposite of earlier rate. So it is 0.20. So $0.20 per 1 rupee. So अब क्या हो गया? Abroad, that is the foreign currency has become counter currency. Home currency is a base currency. So indirect quote में counter currency is foreign and base currency is a domestic currency, called as indirect quote. It means the exchange rate in which now coming to the new concept, cross currency rate. When there are 3 or more currencies are involved, or currencies of different countries are involved, called as cross currency rate. Till now we have seen direct quote, indirect quote. Now what is cross currency rate? The exchange rate in which 3 currencies are involved. For example, ₹75 per dollar and $3 per pound. If I wish to purchase pound and if it is not directly quoted in my country, then what I need to do is I have to convert my rupees into dollar. Then I will give dollar and I will purchase pound. So actually I wanted pound by giving rupees, but directly not possible. It is called as cross currency rate. Used when specific currency is directly not quoted or not available in our country. Now the new concept, buying rate versus selling rate. I am talking about from the rate from the point of view of a dealer. Dealer कौन होता है? A middleman, जो किसी से, let's say हम कभी-कभी second hand books बेचने के लिए जाते हैं. Let's make it simple. मेरा एक अकाउंट्स का 11th का बुक है और सीएसीपीटी का बुक है जो अभी मुझे यूजफुल नहीं है बिकॉज नाउ आई हैव एंटर्ड इन इंटरमीडिएट लेवल। तो मैंने ये सीए फाउंडेशन का या सीपीटी का अकाउंट्स का बुक लेट्स अज्यूम 100 रुपीज का सेकंड हैंड में बेचा, लेट्स से आई गॉट 25 रुपीज। सडनली वहीं पे मेरा दोस्त मुझे मिलता है और उसी शॉप में जाता है 2 मिनट बाद और वो शॉपकीपर वही बुक उसको 75 रुपीज में बेचता है बिकॉज इट्स अ सेकंड हैंड बुक। व्हाट डज इट मीन? फॉर द बायर दैट इज अ डीलर, वो बुक शॉप वाला हो गया डीलर, फॉर हिम द बाइंग रेट वाज 25 रुपीज पर बुक एंड सेलिंग रेट इज 75 रुपीज पर बुक। बीच में जो 50 रुपीज है इट इज हिज मार्जिन, वो हो गया उसका प्रॉफिट। सेम वे फॉरेक्स इज आल्सो डेल्ट विद। लेट्स सी व्हाट इज बाइंग रेट एंड सेलिंग रेट। Buying rate at which the dealer purchases foreign exchange from the customer. For example, Mr. A is a exporter. उसको एक्सपोर्ट करके पेमेंट डॉलर में मिला तो उसने उसके डॉलर डीलर को बेच दिए। फॉर डीलर इट्स अ परचेसिंग दैट इज बाइंग रेट। लेट्स से वी परचेस्ड इट एट 40 रुपीस पर डॉलर, तो 40 रुपया हो गया बाइंग रेट। सेलिंग रेट, द रेट एट विच द डीलर सेल्स द फॉरेन एक्सचेंज टू द कस्टमर। लेट्स से अभी दूसरा है मिस्टर पी जिसको इंपोर्ट करना है, ही नीड डॉलर, सो उसी डीलर के पास गया और उससे उसने गुड्स डॉलर खरीदे एट द रेट ऑफ लेट्स से 60 रुपीस पर डॉलर, सो दैट इज द सेलिंग रेट फॉर द डीलर। लेट्स से 56 रुपीस 58, ऐसे ये रेट्स दिए जाते हैं पर डॉलर। इट मींस द डीलर विल परचेज द डॉलर फ्रॉम द कस्टमर से मिस्टर ए एट रुपीस 56, exporter who received amount in dollar, and the dealer will sell it to another customer Mr. B, importer, who needs to purchase dollar to pay the amount in dollar to his supplier at 58 per dollar. लिया 56 में, बेच दिया 58 में। The difference between these two rates is called as the spread, that is the margin of the dealer. Let's say $1000 का ट्रांजैक्शन था, so 2 rupees per dollar into $1000, 2000 रुपए डीलर ने कमा लिए। ए से सस्ते में लिया और बी को महंगे में बेच दिया। This is what is called as spread difference, 2 रुपए का। So that was what we have seen till now. What is foreign exchange, what is direct quote, what is indirect quote, what is buying rate and selling rate from the point of view of dealer. Let's move forward towards foreign currency. The exchange rate regimes. The system, what is this? It is a system to determine the exchange value of domestic currency with respect to other currencies. ये डिसाइड कौन करता है सर? आज मार्केट रेट ऑफ डॉलर हैज गॉन टू 56 रुपीस, नाउ इट हैज गॉन टू 58. Now why 56, why 58? Who decides it? The reason, the answer is given by this. Is it government or is it market? Let's see what exactly decides the market rate of foreign exchange. There are two types of exchange rate systems, we can call it as floating or flexible exchange rate regime or fixed exchange rate regime. What is that? System. Let's remember it as system. First, floating or flexible system. No or very low government intervention. So let the market forces decide the exchange rate. The exchange rate depends on the demand and supply of foreign exchange. So if there is a huge demand for dollar, then the prices for dollar will go up. If not, then it will come down. So very low or almost no intervention of government. Complete government, the second one is fixed system. Complete government interference. Government decides. Like in many times, China decides its own currency rate. It decides to appreciate or depreciate the currency. It's a perfectly a fixed rate system. The government or central bank declares the minimum and maximum exchange rate. So the band is declared. It's responsibility of government to maintain the rate in that band. For example, if supply of a particular currency is more than needed, then the government must purchase it. And if the demand for is more, then the government must make the supply to keep the exchange rate stable. For example, if the government has decided that in this particular financial year, the exchange rate per dollar must be within 70 to 75. Now, maybe the market will support it or will not. If the demand for dollar goes up, then obviously the prices tends to go up. Then it's a responsibility of government to make the dollar available in the market to keep the rate within that band. And if the demand goes down, in that case the prices will go down. Again, government will have to play the role. It has to acquire the dollar, create the demand, and keep the prices within that band. So, a complete government intervention, fixed exchange plan. Also known as pegged exchange rate, that is the government has established a peg or a band for its currency. In practical life, so what does happen actually? Let's say in India or in any country, what exactly happens? It's a mixture of both fixed and floating. In practical life, it's a combination of flexible and fixed rate policy. No government interference till the exchange rate is steady or with a normal fluctuation. But the government shall intervene in case the foreign rate fluctuates abnormally. A soft peg policy, this is the first policy government may have, that is lower government intervention, more reliance on the market. While a hard peg policy, government sets the band and first and then gives limited freedom. So the band is given, but generally the band width or the length is higher more, so that the transactions may take place and demand supply gets a freedom. That's a hard peg policy. Now, so we have seen how the exchange rate works, how it is decided, how government plays an important role. Now, let's see the classification of these regimes done by IMF. This is a little bit complex system. Let's try to simplify it. Type 1, exchange rate, that means what exactly the policy government can take. These are 8 types defined by IMF. Exchange rate arrangement with no separate legal tender, for example, dollarization. Currency of another country circulates as a sole legal tender or member belongs to the monetary or currency union in which same legal tender is shared by members of the union. Like European Union, the euro currency was accepted and the members has to part with their own currency which was used earlier. Now they will have to deal in euro only. So this is a common legal currency, no separate currency for any country. This can be one type which is categorized. Central board arrangements like Hong Kong dollar. Monetary regime based on implicit national commitment to exchange domestic currency for a specified foreign currency at a fixed exchange rate. For 1 year or for a duration, the rate between two countries exchange is fixed. Let's say for dollar, our currency will be 30 rupees only. So it is fixed and it will never change in that particular rate. This can be a second type which was used for Hong Kong dollar. Other conventional fixed peg arrangement like Chinese yuan. Country pegs its currency, formal or de facto, at fixed rate to a major currency or a basket of currencies where exchange rate fluctuates within a narrow margin or at most plus or minus 1% around the central rate. Rate is fixed but little bit freedom is given, 1% here and there is allowed. So earlier was 100% fixed, now some freedom is given to fluctuate. Type 3. Type 4. Pegged exchange rates within horizontal bands. Value of the currency is maintained within the margins of fluctuation around a formal or de facto fixed peg that are wider than 1% around central rate. Again the same thing, but the percentage is more than 1%. So little bit liberalization we can say. Was a type 4. Crawling peg. Currency is adjusted periodically in small amounts at a fixed or pre-announced rate in response to change in certain quantitative indicators. So some indicators are best. If this happens, then we will appreciate or depreciate our currency by 1%, 2%. So the parameters are earlier set. If that parameter is achieved, then only we will make the fluctuation. That is type number 5, crawling peg. I repeat, IMF has given 8 different types. How the currency exchange rates can be decided. Of course, in practical life, it can be a combination of either of them. Crawling bands. Currency is maintained within a certain fluctuation margin, that is 1 or 2% around the central rate, that is adjusted periodically. Here maybe the benchmark is not given periodically. Let's say at the end of every quarter we will fluctuate our currency depending on the market situation. Crawling bands type 6. Type 7. Managed floating within no pre-announced path for exchange rate like Indian rupee. So there is no directly band or exchange rate given, it depends purely on market conditions, but government has a role in it. Monetary authority influences. Monetary authority means government, RBI we can say. The movements of the exchange rate through active intervention in foreign exchange markets without specifying a pre-announced path for the exchange rate. So we have not given any band, any percentage or a base rate. We have a full control with the help of some acts like FEMA, Foreign Exchange Management Act. Government and RBI keeps control on the foreign exchange and its rates. Type 7. Type 8. Independent floating like US dollar, Japanese yen, New Zealand dollars, etc. Exchange rate is market determined, purely depending on market. with any foreign exchange intervention aimed at moderating the rate of change and preventing undue influence in the exchange rate rather than at the established level for it. So let the market decide the exchange rate, government intervention will be almost zero. That's an open economy like US dollar and Japanese yen. So these are 8 different types which are given by IMF, and some percentage are given, how many countries are there under the each heading, so that percentage is given. Not much important for our exams, but we should at least know that in how many or how much percentage of currencies are coming under specific headings. So that was the 8 types which can be there, or prevailing exchange rate systems can be there as per IMF. Now we have seen there can be fixed rate system or a floating rate. Floating rate means no government intervention, fixed rate means having the government intervention. Advantages are of having fixed rate regime. It avoids fluctuation, government is having a control. Increases credibility of the currency. When there is no abnormal fluctuation in the currency, obviously credibility increases. Increases the international trade. As your currency is strong, obviously the investor, the sellers, purchaser will come to our market, so international trade can be boosted. Creates discipline in the economy. I know it very well that in my country, the fluctuation rates are not abnormal. Automatically the discipline and a proper image is created. It enhances credibility of country's monetary policy. Not only the currency is having credibility, but of course government is also getting an advantage, so that government and ultimately the market, the country as a market, is getting a good reputation at international level. It gives proper control in the hands of central bank. Central bank can make the changes at whenever it is required. As we know, central bank is assumed to be the honest and the strongest authority in our country. So that is why the control is given in its hand, gives us benefit and satisfaction ultimately, or the confidence that nothing abnormal will happen in our country. Now advantages having floating rate regime. Floating rate, no government intervention or very low. Free hands to central bank to decide the policy. It can use the rates as a tool for development of economy whenever it is required. No intervention is equal to no heavy forex reserve which central bank needed. In case of fixed system, as central bank is an authority, need to keep some foreign exchange with itself to be used in case of contingency. Now it's a free floating market, no investment is required by central bank even in the foreign exchange. It creates discipline in the economy that we have already seen. It also creates, of course, enhances credibility and gives proper control. So that was about the floating rate. Of course, some advantages are common. The most affecting disadvantage of floating rate regime is the lack of stability. When you are relying on market, obviously the flexibility, the fluctuations could be abnormal at any time. So stability is not there, but of course it depends on the long life reputation of that currency also. So that was all about the floating versus fixed rate, 8 different parts, how foreign exchange rates are decided. Now moving forward to one more concept, rather 2 more concepts, normal exchange rate versus real exchange rate. Normal exchange rate means whatever exchange rate we have defined, rupees 50 per dollar, rupees 40 per dollar. But what is real exchange rate then? When it is expressed in terms of goods, it can be a real exchange rate. Let's see what exactly real exchange rate is. So, the actual exchange rate of one currency for other is called as nominal or normal exchange rate. But when the exchange rate is expressed in terms of exchange of goods, then it is called as real exchange rate. Nominal, how much dollars you are going to get by giving rupees, let's say 50 rupees per dollar, pay 50 rupees, get $1 is nominal. Real, when we are talking about the goods, ideally, or the price of goods, ideally it should be same. For example, if 50 rupees per dollar is the exchange rate, means if I am purchasing a radio in India, it should be at the cost of 50 rupees, and if I am purchasing the same in US, then it should cost $1. That is a perfect combination. That is called as purchasing power parity. Parity means equality. So the purchasing power of 50 rupees is equal to $1, and that's why the exchange rate is 50 rupees per dollar. But practically it never happens. And that is why that is called as real exchange rate. Let's see how. For example, a radio costs 300 rupees in India and the same is available for $5 in US. It means that the exchange rate is rupees 300 for $5, that is rupees 60 per dollar. Actual conversion exchange rate may be 75 rupees per dollar, but goods, purchasing price of goods called as purchasing power parity states that it is 60 rupees per dollar, which is called as the real exchange rate for actual exchange of currency. So real exchange rate is nominal exchange rate, that is a currency rate, multiplied by domestic price index divided by foreign price index. What is price index? It's of course a deep rooted thing, but generally we can say 300 rupees per radio versus $1 per radio in US. That can be taken as an index indicator. So that was a nominal versus real. Now what is real effective exchange rate? REER. It is a nominal effective exchange rate divided by the price deflator or index of the cost. If it is based on cost, not on selling price, then it is real effective exchange rate on the same lines but not covered in our portion in detail. An increase in REER implies that exports become more expensive and import becomes cheaper. Therefore, an increase in REER, real effective exchange rate, indicates a loss in trade competitiveness. When I am saying that real exchange rate or real effective exchange rate is going up, it means it is expensive, means what is given? The import is becoming cheaper. That means if I am importing the goods, I need to pay very small amount. Export is becoming expensive, means why export is expensive? When I am exporting the goods, I am getting dollars, I will not get rupees to that extent. This is called as devaluation of our currency. Rather, this is called as appreciation of our currency that we will discuss at the end. But export is getting the costlier, means I am not getting that much rupees or home currency, but import is cheaper, means I am giving very few home currency and getting the goods imported. That is called as real effective exchange rate difference. That is not part of our studies right now, it is at final level. Now, moving towards a market, we have seen the concept exchange rate, the rate which is used for making the payment for goods or receiving the amount. But what is market then? What we call it as market? For example, when we say it's a market, so generally we assume that there are sellers and purchasers, actual or virtual. So what is forex market then? Let's see. The wide-reaching collection of markets and the institutions that handle the exchange of foreign currencies is known as foreign exchange market. What is foreign exchange market? The market where we find the seller and purchaser of foreign currencies. What is that exactly? Let's see. In this market, the participants use one currency to purchase another currency. The foreign exchange market operates worldwide and is by far the largest market in the world in terms of cash value traded. It's the largest market obviously because everyone who is trading all over the world is a part of this market. How? Let's see. Being an over-the-counter market, over-the-counter means exchange directly. It is not a physical place, rather it is an electronically linked network of big banks, dealers and foreign exchange brokers who bring buyers and sellers together. How do I purchase foreign exchange? I go to a dealer, generally these dealers are banks. I give my rupees and I get the dollar. If I am exporter, I got dollar, then I will give dollars and I will get rupees at the prevailing rate. So these intermediary systems are actually connecting this worldwide network of forex market. With no central trading location and no set hours for trading, the foreign exchange market involves enormous volume of foreign exchange trading worldwide. There is no limit of timing. At midnight also I can pay the amount online and I can get the amount online. So there is no limits for this market at all. So the forex market, which are the forces which are running or which are behind the running of this market? First, central banks of all the countries who allows this to happen, business houses who are involved in purchasing and selling, individuals who need to purchase and sell the goods, dealers or brokers who are actually working as intermediary for this market, arbitrators will explain in detail or discuss it in detail, and speculators. So let's see the role of each and everyone in the forex market. Now, central bank of different countries regulates the system. It allows to enter in the market and it regulates the system, like RBI in India. Business houses and individuals involved in the purchase and sale of forex for completion of its transaction of import and exports. Dealers and brokers works as a middleman to earn the spread. Spread means profit, as we know. Arbitragers, this is a very interesting concept. Arbitrager takes the risk and gain the profit from the forex rate differences without investing anything. What is this and how does it work? For example, if I found a difference in foreign exchange between India and US dollar, Indian rupee and dollar. What I did, I took a loan of 10,000 rupees from India and I converted it into dollar. Then I I transferred the amount in US and I kept FD over there. After 6 months or a year, I got the amount back in the form of dollar, that is the principal plus interest, and I converted it into Indian rupee, and this amount is more than the loan amount plus interest to be paid. To make it simple, let's assume मैंने इंडिया से 10,000 रुपए का लोन लिया, 10 लाख रुपए का लोन लिया. I converted it into dollar, जो भी एक्सचेंज रेट है लेट्स से $10,000 बन गए. मैंने 1 साल तक यूएस में उसको एफडी में रख दिया. आफ्टर 1 ईयर मुझे $10,000 पे $1,000 इंटरेस्ट मिला, लेट्स से 10%. नाउ आई हैव $11,000. आज के एक्सचेंज रेट से, मतलब 1 साल के बाद वाले एक्सचेंज रेट से मैंने उसको कन्वर्ट किया इंडियन रुपीज में. यहाँ पे मैंने 10 लाख का लोन लिया था, 1 ईयर का 10% से या लेट्स से 8% से 80,000 देना है, 10,80,000 देना है. जब मैंने कन्वर्ट किया डॉलर, आई गॉट 11 लाख. सो आया 11 लाख, देना है 10,80,000. 20,000 रुपीज आई अर्न विदाउट इन्वेस्टिंग अ सिंगल रुपी. इंडिया से लोन लो, यूएस में एफडी करो, विद इंटरेस्ट पैसा लाओ, कन्वर्ट करके लोन रीपेमेंट करो, जो एक्स्ट्रा मिला वो मेरा प्रॉफिट. आर्बिट्रेजर, दिस कॉल्ड एज आर्बिट्रेशन प्रोसेस. आई वॉज नॉट हैविंग एनी रिस्क, मैंने कोई ट्रांजेक्शन नहीं किया था, लेकिन मुझे लगा कि मैं प्रॉफिट कमा सकता हूं, सो आई टुक द रिस्क. इसमें रिस्क क्या हुई, अगर एक्सचेंज रेट ऊपर नीचे हो गया तो मिलने वाला पैसा लोन रीपेमेंट से कम भी हो सकता है. सो दैट पर्सन इज कॉल्ड एज आर्बिट्रेजर, हु इज आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मार्केट. Speculators. Speculators are generally the dealers or could be a individual also. Takes the risk and gain the profit from the forex rate differences by investing the amount and holding it till the right time. जैसे हम शेयर्स में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं और रेट बढ़ना एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं, and when the rate is increased we sell it out. Difference is our profit. वैसे कुछ लोग फॉरेन एक्सचेंज खरीदते हैं, let's say at 50 रुपीस पर डॉलर. जब ये रेट 60 रुपीस पर डॉलर हो गया, इवन 52 रुपीस पर डॉलर बेच देते हैं. डिफरेंस is the profit they have earned. तो डिफरेंस क्या है इन दोनों में, आर्बिट्रेजर और स्पेक्यूलेटर्स. यहाँ पे स्पेक्यूलेटर्स पैसा इन्वेस्ट करता है, आर्बिट्रेजर कुछ इन्वेस्ट नहीं करता है, जस्ट डिफरेंस अमाउंट इज हिज प्रॉफिट. सो ऑल दीज आर द पार्ट्स ऑफ द फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मार्केट. Now, so we have seen what are the actual parts of foreign exchange market. We have already gone through it: central bank, business houses, individual, dealer, arbitrator, and speculators. We have gone through all these concepts who are actually supporting the foreign exchange market and running it. Now comes foreign exchange transactions. ये जो foreign exchange हम खरीदते और बेचते हैं, ये transactions कैसे होती है? There are two types of transaction. One is called as current transaction. आज अभी किया, complete हो गया. मैं गया 100 रुपीस दिए, $1 या £1 ले लिया, करंट ट्रांजैक्शन. फ्यूचर ट्रांजैक्शन मींस मैंने किसी के साथ ट्रांजैक्शन किया, मैं 6 महीने बाद आपको इतने डॉलर देके या इतने रुपीस देके इतने डॉलर लेने वाला हूं. फ्यूचर और फॉरवर्ड ट्रांजैक्शंस. करंट ट्रांजैक्शन इज आल्सो कॉल्ड एज स्पॉट ट्रांजैक्शन और एक्चुअल ट्रांजैक्शन ऑफ सेल एंड परचेज ऑफ फॉरेक्स. Deals with the current rate, that is the spot rate. Dealer works as a margin, works for the margin called as spread. डीलर किसी से सस्ते में डॉलर ले लेता है और किसी को बेच देता है. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज स्पॉट ट्रांजैक्शन और करंट ट्रांजैक्शन. बाइंग एंड सेलिंग रेट का डिफरेंस. फॉरवर्ड ट्रांजैक्शन, अ ट्रांजैक्शन एंटर्ड इनटू टुडे but to be completed on the future date. The actual payment shall be made on the future date at pre-decided rate. Can be traded at premium or at discount. मैं डीलर के पास गया, मैंने कहा 6 महीने बाद I have imported some goods today, मुझे क्रेडिट पीरियड मिला है 6 months का. So after 6 months I have to pay $1,000. आज का रेट 50 रुपीस चल रहा है, आप कितने में मुझे बेचोगे? उन्होंने कहा 50 रुपीस पर डॉलर पे फिक्स कर दिया. तो ये फिक्स हो गया कि मैं 52,000 रुपीस लेके जाऊंगा. At the rate of 52 I will get $1,000. I will pay to my supplier. तो ये फिक्स हो गया कि 6 महीने बाद. रेट कब डिसाइड हुआ? आज. पेमेंट कब होगा? 6 months के बाद. So rate is decided today to be paid afterwards. आप बोलोगे डीलर का क्या फायदा हुआ? एक तो उनका कमीशन हो सकता है, दैट इज प्रीमियम, या उसमें जो डिफरेंशियल है स्प्रेड, उसमें वो डीलर कमा सकता है. इट इज कॉल्ड एज फॉरवर्ड ट्रांजैक्शन. So one was current or spot and second is forward. Now exchange rate determination process ये कैसे डिसाइड होता है? It is general demand and supply thing. Let's see how. It's a pure demand and supply based market. The demand for forex and its supply determines the equilibrium rate. The demand for forex is for क्यों डिमांड करते लोगों को क्यों चाहिए डॉलर? संभाल के रखने के लिए, बुक में रखने के लिए? No. Purchase goods and services from other country. Import किया गुड्स का या सर्विसेज का. For unilateral transfer such as gift, award, grant, donation, endowment. मुझे किसी को पेमेंट करना है, गिफ्ट देना है मेरे एक दोस्त को, या किसी फॉरेन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को या एनजीओ को डोनेशन देना है. आई नीड फॉरेन एक्सचेंज. टू मेक इन्वेस्टमेंट इनकम पेमेंट अब्रॉड. मैंने फॉरेन से कुछ लोन लिया था, उस पर मुझे इंटरेस्ट देना है, तो उसके लिए फॉरेन एक्सचेंज लगेगा. टू परचेज फाइनेंशियल एसेट, स्टॉक, बॉन्ड्स अब्रॉड. मुझे उधर के कुछ शेयर्स लेने हैं, फॉरेन कंपनीज के या बॉन्ड्स लेने हैं. आई नीड फॉरेन एक्सचेंज. To purchase financial assets, stock bond that we have seen, open foreign bank account to acquire direct ownership of real capital. वहां पे मुझे कुछ एसेट लेना है, बैंक अकाउंट ओपन करना है. For speculation and hedging activities related to risk taking or risk avoiding. Hedging मतलब reduction of risk. जो मैंने अभी कहा फॉरवर्ड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. मुझे लगता है एक्सचेंज रेट फ्लक्चुएशन होगा, तो मैंने डीलर के साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर दिया 52 रुपीज पर डॉलर फिक्स. अब रेट 55 हो या 45 हो, आई एम गोइंग टू पे यू 52 रुपीज पर डॉलर. That is called as hedging the risk minimization. इसके लिए भी फॉरेक्स लगता है, भले आज नहीं लगेगा, 3 महीने बाद लगेगा. So this is all for demand for foreign exchange. तो यहाँ पे होता क्या है? It's very simple. It's a demand curve, it's a supply curve where it meets, intersect. It is called as the equilibrium point. तो ये हो गया हमारा जनरल